Welcome to the podcast, everyone. We are here joined by the lovely, the wonderful D. We'll call you D. You have a Twitter. If you want to go ahead and shout out your Twitter now, because it's popping.
Yeah, it's at crushing_goals. My name is Gym Class Hero on there. So, hey, thanks for having me. It's my first podcast. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited for this too. Again, you were one of the main people I really wanted to get on right away because you have such an interesting story with your military background, your daughter, everything you do. And I'm sure you're super busy. So that's why I'm glad to get you on and have the time to do this.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about your military background. I haven't really heard too much about it, but I know you've mentioned it. So what is that like?
Right. So I joined a long time ago. I joined right after 9/11, actually, because of 9/11.
Oh.
So when it happened, I had just bought my first home. I was 19. Just bought my first home. I just gotten promoted to the management position where I was. And I was pretty much myself through college because I was already doing college and high school and I had a scholarship. So I didn't really have a reason to go like a lot of people. But once that happened, I was like, I just felt this overwhelming urge to like do something more than, something bigger than myself, basically.
Right.
So I joined right after that. And 4 months later, I went to Missouri and I became a military police officer. And then I went to a combat line unit in Germany.
That's so awesome. Again,
Yeah.
Emphasis on the bought your first home at 19. That's something special within itself. That is insane. Again, that's so hard to do. I'm impressed. So much impressive stuff.
Thanks. I was quite ambitious. I still am. But yeah, I just knew that I wanted to start making money early. I became a landlord at 20 and then a landlord again at 21. I owned 2 rental properties and I bought my second one while I was overseas. So I've just always believed in trying to have multiple streams of income and being secure financially. I didn't really have a lot growing up. So that was kind of my main motivation, was to kind of do something different than what I was raised with. First, want to go to college in my family too. So yeah. That's why I was like, I'm just driven, just ready to go. Let's do this. That's how I've always been.
That's so awesome. And again, with the military thing, so you never thought about it before, but then after 9/11, that's what really, really changed your thought process on it?
Yes. In fact, they tried to recruit me in high school all the time because I had good grades. I was in all the, quote unquote, smart people classes. And they would always come to the high school and try to get me and call me. I said, listen, I don't know what kind of calling list I'm on, but take me off. I will never be government property. And then I was like kind of rude looking back on it. I have so much respect now. Back then I was like, and I actually wanted to be in law enforcement anyway. So then that happened. I walked myself into the recruitment station for the Army. I chose them because they were the oldest branch. And they looked at me and they go, I remember you. I'm like, well, don't get too excited. I know you have quotas because you're basically salespeople. I said, I'm recruiting myself. And then I ended up just loving it. I became very, very enamored with the military as a whole. But yeah, in the beginning, I wasn't really the best. I talked back all the time. I was a brat. Yeah. Oh yeah. I had a major problem with authority. It didn't last very long because if you get in trouble, everyone gets in trouble. You get punished as a unit. And I learned very quickly that you would not be liked if you acted like that. So in the end of all my training, I was actually the second highest ranking female in the company as far as my scores. And so I became like super soldier at the end, but in the beginning, not so much. They knew my name the first day and that's never good.
So when you had a problem with authority, was that also with school too?
I respected people, but not if someone was being rude, even if they were being rude or if they were wrong, I would tell them even as a kid. And that was not always a good thing. So yeah, I actually got suspended at school, even though I was a straight A student, because I talked back to my Spanish teacher because she wasn't teaching something that was the way she was supposed to teach it out of the book. And I was the only one that noticed it. I was just the only one that said something. So I had a reputation for being kind of a brat, unfortunately.
Really? See, for me with my schooling, I was just kind of the class clown. I just really like to socialize. As you know, I just like to talk to everyone. I like to talk about random things. And that's kind of why I started the podcast. Yes. But I what people don't know is I dropped out of high school. I was about 16, 17. My dad thought I was doing some shady stuff when I was a freshman, sophomore year. So he took me out of school, put me in online school. I didn't like doing that either. I was always trying to do my own thing and going on my own path. And so I ended up dropping out. But then I got my GED and then I was just working full time. And then again, now I'm doing this and I'm working on multiple different things. But that's what I really, really enjoy to do. And kind of taking a different little turn with working out. What got you into working out? Were you always kind of health conscious?
No.
No?
Before the military, I never even ran or did a push-up. Like I was not athletic at all. I had no desire to be. And so that kind of got me like, oh, I could be strong. I mean, by the end of it, I could run 2 miles in 15:32, which is pretty good for never running.
Yeah, that's
And I could do
impressive.
like 56 push-ups in 2 minutes. So I was like, okay, I have the capacity to be strong, but no. And then I didn't do anything afterwards because I actually got injured and I was a medical discharge. And then I got in a bunch of like car accidents after that, and I just kept re-injuring myself. But it was
Multiple car
only,
accidents?
oh yeah, like someone hit a drunk driver hit me like a year after I got out in a back injury. I got hit by a drunk driver. Then like a couple years later, I got hit once at a stoplight. I'm at a dead stop, and then again 3 weeks later, I got hit again. I'm like, do I have this target on my car? What's happening? Yeah, so I just kept hurting myself, and then it's just been a mess. But the thing that got me kind of motivated again was my daughter, who I know we might talk about, and just knowing that I have to always be there for her and be healthy and in shape. Plus, I saw some pictures of me, and I go, oh my God, do I really look like that? Like, wow, I need to do something about this. So it's kind of a combination of wanting to be healthy for her and just like aesthetically looking at myself and going, yeah, we need to kind of address some things going on. I just wanted to be healthy, but mainly though.
Yeah. So again, talking about your daughter, she's beautiful and she's 13.
Yes.
And if you want
Yeah.
to talk a little bit more about her, bring some
Yeah.
awareness, talk to people about
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. I was very young when I got pregnant. I was 23, had her at 24. We did not know anything was going to be wrong with her, but she was born, she almost died at birth. She had some health issues, and then she was in intensive care. And then they found out she also has Down syndrome, which we did not know. It was very rare for someone of my age, so that wasn't something that we thought would be a possibility. So in the beginning, I didn't take it very well, and it was just a little too much for me. And then I didn't know what to do. There's a lot of ignorance that surrounds the diagnosis like that, even in the medical community.
Mm-hmm.
So I just didn't really know how to process that in the beginning. But a few weeks later, I got over that, and I just saw that she was this beautiful little perfect person, and she's the best thing that's ever happened to us. And I became a huge advocate for not only Down syndrome, but people with special needs. And I actually became a new parent support specialist. I was trained to go into the hospitals and talk to other families like us that maybe weren't super excited about a diagnosis, because not everyone handles it really well. I was one of them, so I get it. And so I've been involved in a lot of different advocacy programs since, and special education boards, and worked with a lot of charities like Gigi's Playhouse and a lot of Down syndrome support groups since then. So yeah, she's great.
Yeah, and like you point out, again, that's why I'm interested in it, because I don't really know much about it, and I'm sure it'd be kind of nerve-wracking having finding that out and then having to deal with it. And I don't know exactly what the different complications would entail, but I'm sure it's it's a different process, and it's probably hard to mentally digest for a little bit.
Yeah, because you're expecting one thing, right? It's kind of like you're mourning the loss of what you thought was going to be a normal, situation, a typically developing kid. So yeah, your path changes a little bit, because now you have this child that is most likely going to have, some health issues, which she does, that come with it. There's just a higher risk of different medical things for them. She just had her 20th surgery in August. That's an example.
20th?
20th. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, thankfully she's fairly healthy. It's just, a lot of structural things and whatnot. But that, and then also just kind of dealing with, okay, now we have to change the trajectory a little bit. It's not like she's 18 and gonna move out on her own and go to school and take care of us one day. So
Yeah.
you're kind of having to adjust things there. But at the same time, it's like I also don't have to worry about a lot of things that other parents have to worry about. So the chances of her getting in trouble with the law, or becoming a murderer or something. Like, I don't know what typical parents worry about, but I don't need to worry about some things. I have to worry about other people. But for now, she still loves like mommy, daddy, Elmo. I mean, it's pretty amazing that I have such an innocent little angel, basically. So
And she plays the drums. She listens to music. She dances. I mean,
yeah,
it's pretty incredible.
Yeah,
I love
she's
seeing
amazing.
it.
Yeah, she has like this natural ability. My dad's a professional musician, and there's musicians on both sides of the family, and I used to sing and play piano, and so I think it's just in her blood. My uncle was part of the Righteous Brothers. He was the
That's
drummer for them.
crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, she definitely has it in her just naturally anyway. Down syndrome or not, like they can still be like the family. She
Right.
looks a lot like me also, and a little bit of my husband too. So yeah, I mean, it's just part of her, but it's not her entire being,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. So again, with the back to health, you made a pretty significant transformation with your health. I mean, the pictures are on your Twitter, and I'll let you explain a little bit more on that.
Oh yeah. So I was just ready to do this, and I didn't take a lot of before pics. I should have done more, but I'm very impatient. You understand how that is. We kind of want things now, and you and I
Right.
are very much alike anyway, as we've talked about. So for me, that was the hardest part, is just not seeing results the way I wanted, but I wasn't really trying as hard as it could have been. And it was Twitter, when I started getting on here, I started getting more active in June, actually.
Hmm.
That is what catapulted me. That was the catalyst for really making me go, oh my God, this is great. There's such a great, as you know, Fit Fam on Twitter. We have so many great friends and so much
Yes.
support. And I think that's really kind of what got me into just really pushing myself. So I love, I mean, you and we have a huge group of people, and I just think more people should utilize it. You know, social media could be a really positive thing if we allow it to be. And this is a great example of how you can do that.
And that's the interesting thing about Twitter. You know, I joined fairly recently and I don't have the following that you have. And that's why I was interested to hear more about how you started and what built up the following and how you've kind of created the, I mean, it's bigger than, it's huge. I mean, it is gigantic. And that's why I'm so impressed with what you've built.
Boobs? I don't know. I mean, I think that helps. But I mean, I think it started off like health and fitness, and then I did a lot more with my daughter a while ago, and that kind of got people into it. But honestly, I think being a female in general, you're going to get a large following of males, and I think that's probably what most of my following is. So I think being a guy on Twitter is a lot harder for sure.
I've tried showing my tits. It's not the same turnout, surprisingly enough.
Well, they did show some nipple on one of those podcasts.
I have.
Do more of those, you know, maybe then yeah, I do think guys have a harder time. I think men are just more visual, and
Yeah.
honestly, I think that's just part of it. So if you could be a 4 or 5 and probably still get a decent following. So I think for me though, a lot of people, I do get messages, not just creepy ones. I do get a majority of the things that I hear are positive, and I think people are drawn to inspiration, positivity. As you know, there's so much negativity on social media, and I think it's nice and refreshing to kind of see a different approach. And that's kind of, I'm just like that naturally. So I'm myself, I'm silly, I have my daughter. I think it might just be the multifaceted, you know,
Mhm.
thing that I provide for whatever reason. But I hear a lot of reasons that people follow, so we'll see. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and like you point out, on Twitter especially, I feel like there's so much negativity, and I was on Twitter for quite a bit. I wasn't really tweeting anything out or putting any solid information out yet. But you were one of the people that inspired me, because I saw that, again, with a platform, you can use it for the good. And you don't have to use it for any kind of negativity. And that's why I really, really enjoy your profile specifically, because it's all positivity. It's all great things. It's funny videos. It's your daughter. It's a conglomeration of a bunch of great things. And that's kind of what I strive to get. And that's why I got so much motivation from your Twitter.
Thanks. Well, same thing with yours. I mean, just seeing your great attitude and your exuberance and your positivity and like your drive, and I think that's important for people to see, because it's contagious. I mean, iron sharpens iron. So I feel like when you're surrounding yourself with that positivity, it's really going to kind of motivate you to do more too, hopefully. And I've had people tell me that, like, oh my gosh, because of you, I've gotten back to the gym, and you know, I'm doing this, and thanks so much. And I'm like, I love that. That's like what this is all about, you know. And even when I'm not having a good day, I don't know if you saw my video last week or whatever.
Yeah.
I had a friend that committed suicide that was in the service that I knew from high school, and that hit me hard because some really bad stuff happened while I was in the military, and I have PTSD, and I have different things. So I do talk, you know, sometimes about the not so great stuff, about mental health awareness and things like that. And so, you know, we all have bad days, and I think you could also use it for letting people know that it's okay to not be okay, and that there is a great amount of support also, even from people that might be quote unquote strangers. I mean, all it takes is one message for someone to go, wow, thank you. You helped me more than I know. So I just think that we could really, I made some great friends here. I mean, it's just social media, as people say, but it's not. I think you can make some true connections.
Yeah, and that's why I really like, again, back to your Twitter, you're very open, and people kind of get a chance to see who you are as a person. And that's why I think people are kind of gravitate towards you, because you do have this openness about you, and you spread positivity. And again, on these bad days, you still try and push a right message. And, you know, I think it's just a great message that you push. And I just love to see it. And again, Fit Fam Twitter, everything's so great. I learned so much. I feel like my intellect has expanded so much because there's so much great information that's on the Twitter kind of community that we are a
Yes,
part of. And I just
right.
love it so much.
People really should, if they haven't already, check out the people that you and I follow, because I feel like there's so, like you said, a wealth of information. And we're just like we're not at that level either. I mean, but we're learning, and we're kind of trying to get up at that, level. It's like the people that are actually professional, like this is what they do. They've done it for 10, 15, 20 years. Like and even with investments and a bunch of other things, like I started getting the stock market, as you know, and it's like, even that part of it is like, wow, there's just so much you can learn from other people that have done more than you or have more experience. And as long as you're humble enough to be like, yes, teach me, oh wise one. Like I feel like I'm a few different people's proteges, because there's just been so much that they've taught me from little things that I wouldn't have known. So I love that. And you and I are both really open to learning more too from other people.
Right. Yeah. And ending it on a good note, again, check out our Twitters. Mine is landpriv@twitter.com. Then you want to shout yours out again?
Sure. Mine's at crushing_goals.
Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned till next episode.